On this video, we are talking about adding and subtracting integers, and it is a quick check in Connexus. All right, the first one says, what is another way to write 72 minus negative 21? Well, guys, anytime you see two negatives next to each other, like minus and negative, those two can come together to form a plus sign. Minus a negative turns into a plus. So another way that you could write this is 72 plus 21. And then if it asks you to solve it, you could just add those together. And 72 plus 21 is 93. All right, what is the value of negative 27 minus 11? Okay, so there's all these rules and properties. Like when you have two negatives, you add them and keep it negative. There's all these rules, but I'm not great at memorizing, so I don't memorize all the rules. One thing that I want to make sure that you are very confident with is I want to make sure you are extremely confident with a calculator. I use a calculator all day, every day. So during this video, I'm going to go and I'm going to open up a calculator a lot just to show you how to type it in to make sure that you are confident typing it in. So we're going to use Desmos. Desmos is a free online calculator and everybody can use it all the time. Test, quizzes, all the time. So I pulled up my calculator on Desmos and I'm typing in negative, I don't know what that is, negative 27 minus 11. And now notice I use the minus for both negatives and subtraction because it's really the same thing. A negative number and subtracting a number is the same thing. So negative 27 minus 11 in your calculator tells you it's negative 38. So if you wanted to do it without a calculator, whenever you have two of the same sign, you add them and you keep the sign. So you can choose how you want to solve it. All right, let's look at this one. How much is 14 plus 13? So these are the same sign, so we can add them and just keep the sign. Since they're both positive, we could add them together, 14 plus 13, and keep the sign, which is positive, and get 27. But if you're a little bit nervous about that or you want to be able to double check it, go to the calculator. You can do everything in the calculator. So let's look at that. So I'm back to Desmos and I'm going to do 14, whoops, clear that. 14 plus 13, and it tells me 27. So if we look at the next one, it says, what is the solution to 40 plus negative 13? So here we have different signs. So the property or the rule is that if you have different signs, you subtract and take the sign of the higher number. So we could come over here and we could do 40 minus 13 and get 27. And because 40 is the bigger number and it's positive, our answer would be a positive 27. But you can also use your calculator. You don't have to memorize these rules. We just need to make sure we type it in the calculator exactly how it looks. So let's go to the calculator and type in 40 plus negative 13. So I'm going to do 40 plus, and since they had it in parentheses, I'm going to go ahead and put it in parentheses because whenever I do a problem in my calculator, I want it to look exactly how it looked on the paper. That way I don't make any mistakes in how I rewrite it. So I'm going to use the parentheses because the parentheses were there. Can you do it without the parentheses? Absolutely. Can you do it without the parentheses on every problem? No. You have to be careful. So I always type it in exactly how it looks, and it tells me my answer over here is 27. So let's look at this next one. What is the value of negative 27 plus 30? So again, these are opposite signs. So our rule tells us to subtract and take the sign of the bigger number. So our rule says to subtract these, and since 30 is bigger, it would be a positive 3. But we can also type it in your calculator. So let's look at that. So it was negative 27 plus 30. And I just want to make sure it looks exactly in my calculator how it did on the paper, and it does, and it tells me over on this side that it is 3. So that's it for this quick check, but I just wanted to put these on here so that you know the rules. When you're adding or subtracting integers, if you have the same sign, you add and keep the sign. If you have different signs, you subtract and use the sign of the bigger number. But if those properties sound confusing to you, then use your calculator, okay? You are always allowed to use your calculator from here on out for the rest of your high school math career. So get comfortable using your calculator. Hope this helps.